Thank you for taking a moment to listen to our story, the story of USO of North Carolina. The mission of USO of North Carolina is to enhance the quality of life of the U.S. Armed Forces personnel and their families, and to create a cooperative relationship between U.S. military communities and civilian communities. We are a 501c3 organization which receives no federal or state funds and is not part of the military. We survive on the generosity of the people of North Carolina and our sponsors. The USO was founded on February the 4th, 1941 by President Franklin D. Roosevelt. President Roosevelt ordered 6 civilian agencies which were providing wartime support to the military to unite services and create a new organization, the United Service Organizations, USO. The mission of the World War II USO was to provide a home away from home for hundreds of thousands of young men who were entering the military and leaving home for the first time.
As a service member, being away from home on holidays was a tough thing as a young service member. And to be able to come here and at least share some support and feel the love, I guess you want to call it that.
In this country, dances, entertainment, and other forms of recreational activities were provided by local USO affiliates to help ease the pain of loneliness and the terrors of war. The first USO in America opened in Fayetteville, North Carolina, shortly after the presidential decree. In all, some 7,500 performers brought laughter, music, and a touch of home to front lines in 2 war zones, and also to those recuperating in stateside hospitals. During the periods of conflict in Korea and Vietnam, the USO opened centers in close proximity to combat areas. In Vietnam, local communities were off limits. USO centers often provided the only place for off-duty recreation, including a chance to use a telephone for a call home. Following the Vietnam War, public support for the military and related organizations waned, and the creation of the all-volunteer armed forces presented new challenges, including not only providing services for the young single servicemen of a bygone era, but servicing an entirely new profile of military personnel, which now included men and women who were more likely married, and many of whom had children. A new charter issued by President Jimmy Carter in 1980 defined this new mission for the USO as it continues to provide a home away from home for single military people as well as the military family, and is the only independent, congressionally chartered organization devoted solely to providing much-needed human services to our armed forces personnel and their families.
Being away from home, fighting in a war, it's a difficult situation for the family, and we are here to provide a smile, a cup of coffee, encouragement sometimes, comfort to a widow. We provide a touch of home for our troops.
Even when Congress dissolved the charter for the world headquarters in 1947, the Jacksonville USO Center continued to operate under the USO banner with the local support of the community and military bases. During the board retreat of 2003, an aggressive strategic plan was developed to establish the goals of what the USO was to be by 2007. First step was to open a center at the Raleigh-Durham International Airport with the vision of establishing centers in Fayetteville and in Charlotte. RDU Center opened its doors in August of 2004. Charlotte Center opened just 2 years later, and Fort Bragg Center opened in July of 2008, bringing the USO back to Fayetteville, where it all began. Our multi-purpose recreational centers at Fort Bragg and in Jacksonville provide activities and services for military personnel and their families, with programs like United Through Reading, Smiles Over the Miles, holiday feasts, Breakfast with Santa, and Breakfast with Bunny, and our cyber cafes, libraries, snack bars, video games, pool tables, and ping pong, large flat-screen panel TVs, and entertainment extravaganzas. We ensure the men and women of our military and their families never want for a touch of home, and never go hungry over the holidays. Our very small staff of 21, supported by our Army of Volunteers, now over 700, work tirelessly to provide the service members and their families with every need and comfort we can. We serve them as they serve the country. Thank you for listening to our presentation. Come see more of what we do every day and how you can help by checking out our website at uso-nc.org.
Life's tough when you feel alone, but when you live in a united community like Onslow County that gives generously to agencies like Peers, you don't have to be alone. I now truly know what it means to live united. My name is Kirsten Hicks, and this is my story. We first heard about Peers through a family friend. She had suggested that I bring my daughter here. Tatum was about 9 months old at the time, and I brought her for the drop-in daycare the first time, and it was the first time in 9 months that Tatum had ever been away from me. And after that, she's came about once a week, every week since then. And we had a second baby a year ago, and he's been coming once a week since he was 6 weeks old. I've used several programs from Peers, the drop-in daycare. I've used several of their parenting classes. I've also got my daughter enrolled right now in the kindergarten readiness program. Each one of the programs has taught us how to be a stronger family together. It's preparing my daughter for school, and it has also taught us to be effective parents. My husband's been deployed about 15 months since my daughter was born in 2005, and if it wasn't for Peers and the free childcare and the various parenting classes that I've taken, I'm not sure what our family would be. I'm a single parent when he's deployed, and it has given me the strength to know that I'm a good parent and that I can handle the situations that arise when, your spouse is deployed.
Since Tate was born, I've been deployed twice, both deployments for 7 months. First time I was deployed, she was actually only just over 2 weeks old. Came back, she was 8 months old. Had to get adjusted to how she was and how things had changed while I was gone. Things changed a lot just because I'd went so long without a kid and then had a kid right before deploying. And then all of a sudden, got an 8-month-old basically is what it amounted to. Then my son, he was born after pretty much all my deployments into combat theater was done, but been out on training deployments, so a couple weeks here and there. And just with him being one, basically he changes a lot in 2 to 3 weeks. So when you come back, you still got to readjust to how he is and the things that he's doing. 10 to 2 parenting classes through Peers. The biggest thing I would say that they helped with is they got me and my wife on the same page. When me and her started doing the same things at the same time, it tended to help and make it last a little bit better and make things actually worked out better, because then the kids saw that me and mom were first of all on the same page. Plus, they weren't getting confused by the two of us doing separate things or different things with them. So those classes definitely helped out with that.
To anybody that's donated to the United Way for programs like Peers, I just want to say thank you, because it's done worlds of wonders for my family, and it's been great for my family. And there's a lot of other families like mine that have benefited just as much, if not more. And without the donations and without all of the funding that Peers receives, they wouldn't exist. And that would be a huge, huge asset lost to this community, because there are so many struggling families in Onslow County. We need something to pull us all back together, and Peers is that.
Kirsten is only one person, but by helping Kirsten, her family was strengthened. Remember, when we reach out a hand to one, we can influence the condition of all. United Way of Onslow County funds 35 community programs within its 14 partner agencies. Peers is just one partner agency. With economic times being tough, the demand on our partner agencies' programs has increased. For these vital programs to continue in our community, everyone must live united.
Underneath everything we are,
Underneath everything we do,
we are all people connected,
interdependent,
united.
and when we reach out a hand to one,
we influence the condition of all.
that's what it means to live united.
Children are a precious gift and truly our future. At the Onslow County Partnership for Children, we are honored to be a part of children's early development and future success. My name is Dawn Rochelle, and I have the privilege of serving as the Executive Director for the Onslow County Partnership for Children. In June of 2008, we turned 10 years old. It's hard to believe it's been 10 years. We've created this video in honor of that anniversary. We want to share our past, our present, and also our dreams and hope for the future. Onslow County Partnership for Children was initially created to administer state-funded Smart Start dollars to Onslow County.
Parents couldn't do what was expected of them if they didn't have appropriate child care. Children were going to school not ready to learn because they had mental health deficits. There were teen moms who just couldn't get it together. The child care waiting list was over 6 months long, and if you're required to get a job and you have to wait 6 months for child care, there's no way that that's going to be very functional. So my goal was to get rid of that waiting list, and I have to say that when we got our first full year's funding in 1999, that was the first thing to go. And since then, we have only had, I think, a waiting list for maybe 2 or 3 weeks. It was not very long.
The majority of our work is targeted at improving the quality of child care. There are approximately 4,000 children in child care every day in Onslow County. It is important that parents feel good about where they entrust their child to be every day while they work.
Teacher, and to be able to show the child that butterfly for the first time, or squishing the Play-Doh, or hear them speak for the first time, or count to 5, I get all the joy in that, and they go on and they build on that and become a wonderful human being. It all starts in those early years, and to have good early years, you've got to have somebody with a quality education. You have to have supplies for the children to use. You need funding for this, and that's why our Smart Start and local partnerships are so important to our counties.
Besides the 129 family child care homes in Onslow County, there are 39 child care centers.
When Smart Start came in and first assessed our programs to see what we needed, boy, were we surprised. In the programs and the activities and things we were doing with our children, we really found out that everything we were doing wasn't age appropriate. Some of the equipment that we had wasn't developmentally appropriate. But they first came in, assessed our programs, and really helped us as providers and teachers in understanding that what we were not babysitters, first of all, that we had that concept in our heads, that we were professionals and that we were early childhood educators.
What is this letter?
In celebration of the hard work of our child care homes and centers, the partnership has begun a Star Patrol program to celebrate their achievement in providing quality care. We are particularly proud of our quality child care centers who have become more at Forsyths in 2008.
Having a healthy daycare provider network is important as an economic factor for Onslow County, because parents have to have a place to put their children. And not only do they need a place, but they need a safe place. And to step that up a little bit, not only do they need a safe place, but they need a place where those children can begin the learning cycle. And another aspect of economic benefit is that these daycare providers are providing jobs. They're providing jobs, they're providing learning opportunities and educational opportunities.
The partnership has been an entity that is the go-to place whenever there is a question about child care. We have something in the community here that most folks are aware of called Project CARE, which is our community action readiness effort. And we had a need early on in finding out about drop-in child care. So I called the partnership. They put all of the information together, and now we have brochures that we can give to our young families that are having someone deploy so that they can find out information about that. As we go forward in our community, we have a lot of growth, a lot of military growth that's going to occur here. And so the partnership is very vital as being a part of our infrastructure, if you will, in helping that growth to occur in a manner that will be good for us. Child care is going to be a big part of it, and the partnership, I know, will make every effort to make all of the things happen that we need to have happen with all of the influx of military families that we're going to have.
In our community, many single or dual military families will tell you that the reason they could stay in the military is because they had a child care provider that took custody of their child while they were in the field for operational training or deployment. It is another example of how child care keeps our community working. Another example of community partnership was after Hurricane Isabel in 2003. The partnership was approached to help fill a child care need for first responders. As a result, we created a unique plan linking family child care homes and emergency personnel together. Now, if a disaster strikes our community, our family child care homes are trained and ready to care for those children so their parents can focus on the emergency at hand. Our county is growing. That is not a news flash. Other than the military influx, the changing face of our community is our ever-growing Hispanic population. We have young children in our community that are in non-English speaking homes that arrive at the doors of our public schools and struggle to learn English. What we have found are moms who desperately want to learn better English, as they know that that is the key to their children's success.
Our church has participated with, or partnered with the Onslow County Partnership for Children to provide ESL classes at our facilities. We've been able to minister to lots of Hispanics in our congregation and our community as well. The things that really hit a nerve with people was realizing that these were mothers who were kind of isolated, who really didn't have a chance to learn English, and that providing this transportation and this child care, we've given them an opportunity to learn English and to improve their lives in a way that they probably wouldn't have ever been able to do.
She will say, I have, start, who has.
Partnership for Children had English classes, they got toys, they got people coming to my house, they show my babies maybe a story or read a book with them. My baby like it, my little boy too, and I like it too. So I appreciate everything that they do and everything that they have to. Thank you.
You heard the mother in the clip reference books, and we all know that literacy is the key to all success. The Partnership for Children has served as the coordinator of an annual Books for Kids drive in Onslow County, and we have collected over 26,000 books in 5 short years that have been put directly in the hands of children for use in their homes. Parenting, regardless of socioeconomic or educational status or professional status, is just plain stressful. A goal of Smart Start from the beginning has been the reduction of child abuse and neglect. In 2004, The partnership became one of 60-plus touchpoint sites in the nation to bring the work of Dr. T. Barry Brazelton to our community. Through this work, we are able to bring the discussion of stressors of child development into discussion of family and caregiver dynamics like never before. This, coupled with other projects such as the Period of Purple Crying being implemented with families at Onslow Memorial Hospital and the Onslow County Health Department, will save countless lives and prevent disabilities in children from shaken baby syndrome.
If you don't know what to do with your baby, if what's going on right now is good, you know, there's something else coming. And that's what Touchpoints is about. It basically says, you know, that development comes in spurts and planes. And if you, if you're in an even plane today, you might not be tomorrow.
Military families and children make up a huge portion of our population. Many of our programs are focused on helping the military families and their unique needs. One of our strongest alliances in the community is the Peers Family Development Center. We support Peers for parenting education opportunities. We always say that children don't come with rule books. Well, Peers does.
I'm active duty military. They offered this class in the evenings, also on base where our 5-year-old goes to school. So it made it a real convenience for us so that we can go and attend together instead of just having my wife go and then tell me things afterwards.
Every children is different. So those breaking down by the ages, what their job and what their behavior is, it's more easy for us to understand the children.
They gave us parenting tips for children 1 through 4, basically breaking down the behaviors that they do, that it's not troublesome behaviors, but it's what they're actually supposed to be doing.
One of the highest at-risk groups in our communities are teen moms. Through our partnership with Peers, we have seen a reduction in the cases of abuse and neglect within this population.
We all kind of just get to talk to each other about what's going on and with our babies and how everything's so hard and still trying to go to school, some of us, and having to stay up with the babies, and it's just stressful, and we all get to vent to each other and know that you're not alone.
The partnership has facilitated the effort to establish our Child Advocacy Center so that children who have been victimized will receive services under one roof. Our goal is also to ensure swifter and full prosecution for perpetrators. A large need in our community are services for special needs children. The military have provided a resource to meet that need. The partnership coordinates respite care services for Camp Lejeune, New River, and Cherry Point military families enrolled in the Exceptional Family Member Program. Through this, we have been able to draw on the expertise of Caravel.
Imagine how exciting this is for Caravel Incorporated. For over 4 decades, we have been providing services for medical fragile children and adults. Now with our partnerships with Partnership for Children, we can help to train providers and staff to go into homes, families who are in need of a break right now, families who have children who are medical fragile, children who are in need of respite care, children who are in need of tube feeding, children who are in need of well-trained providers who can work with families who have children with behavior disorders. Families are looking for services that will allow them to have the supports that they need. They're distressed right now, and this new program will allow them the relief that they need.
The Onslow County Partnership for Children's mission is to develop and advocate for programs and resources for our youngest citizens through partnerships with business and community leaders, and we have. Our children need us more than ever as concerned parents, business owners, community leaders, and elected officials to be their voice. Thankfully, because of the work of Smart Start and our local Partnership for Children, we know that today a parent was able to accept a job because they had childcare. We know that a teen mom will graduate from high school and be able to provide for her family. We know that a parent will be less stressed because they know this stage of development won't last forever. And we know that less children will suffer abuse and neglect. And we know that a child will have the experience of quality child care with a quality teacher. So remember,
together
we build
brighter futures
for
our children.
Thank you to our staff, our board of directors, elected officials, and all of you in the community who have supported Smart Start and our local partnership for children. You have made a difference in the lives of our children and in the future of Onslow County. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Muchas gracias.
My name is James Brian Poole II, and I grew up in a town outside of Buffalo called Westfield, New York. Small town. Really everybody knows everybody. And I grew up with a little bit of a rough upkeeping, but music in my school, in my high school, and specifically my music teacher, Kent Nappenberger, actually, I would say, saved my high school experience by really introducing me into music. I got involved with as much music as I possibly could. I did theater, I did everything. Music is my escape. Music is everything that I am. I use music to express anger, I use music to express love, I use music to even be funny. Two of my main influences on my music today would have to be Chris Carrabba from Dashboard Confessional, and second, John Vesey, Secondhand Serenade. I've got to see them both live several times, and their shows were phenomenal. They play their own music, they write their own music. Their passion is you're easily able to feel the passion that they put into their music. John Vesey, actually, I get to meet in person in Jacksonville, North Carolina at Hooligans, and he signed my Taylor, my guitar, and just really got to talk to him for a little bit. And you know, being the artist that he is, having a wife and kids, still living his dream, his passion, writing music, doing what he does, is very inspirational. As far as Chris Carrabba is concerned, writing his own music, the music that he makes, it's beautiful, it's passionate, it's simplistic. Both of them have a very simplistic style, but their voice is their main instrument.
I remember when I first got wind of the studio, I played a talent show on Marine Corps Base Camp Lejeune, and a couple days later got a phone call from Thomas Patrick, and he invited me over for Latter Rain to check me out, and they were very excited after I played. I was so ecstatic to be able to do it, and when we started, it was really like, hurry up, I just kind of want to get the CD done and do my thing with music and stuff, but Rodney told me it's all about the journey. He said, you have to, you have fun along the way and become a better musician here and there and all this stuff. And, I didn't want to hear it at first. It's kind of like, let's do this project. But I'm telling you, as long as I've been in the studio, I've never been in better hands.
Two of my favorite tracks on the album would have to be Since the Day You Left and Round Again. Since the Day briefly is about two lovers who are split up. One lover has obviously found a reason to leave, the other lover is mourning the loss. Round Again, a song about two lovers who want to be together, but one feels like they just can't give the other exactly what they want.
She waits for his call. Just to hear the sound of his voice again.
I've learned so much as a musician, even from the very basics of learning to play with a band. I mean, I was such a free spirit as far as playing acoustic guitar, you know, any way I wanted to. I got loud singing, I got fast on the guitar, you know, it was just how it was. You know, they taught me how to be with time signatures. They taught me how to deal with bands. They taught me even how to be a better person. I mean, this is the greatest group of people that I've ever met, and they're very passionate about my music. I think overall the experience I've had in the studio has been life-changing, to be honest. I've put in a lot of time. They've put in a lot of time. We've put in a lot of work collectively, and a lot of love and a lot of heart, and the CD's coming out amazing. I'm very, very, very excited about it. And I know you guys will too. You'll get to reap the benefits of hearing what a little bit of passion does. I would say overall I'm very, very, very pleased and so lucky that I found this studio.
I've definitely faced a lot of obstacles in my life, but I've never let it get me down. I've never let it stop me from doing what I wanted to do musically. And if I can give any advice to anybody, it's if you have a dream, hold on to it, and no matter what is in the way, no matter what obstacle comes, you can leap it, you can get through it. You just have to push, and you have to try hard. And if your heart's in it, if you really honestly are passionate and you believe, there's no way that you will not accomplish it. Just hold on to your dreams.
For many years, this community has suffered a lot because of being in a rural area. We found more kids dropping out of school. We saw the drug epidemic starting to incline in this area. I went around to a lot of the families in the community from door to door. The number one conversation that I had with majority of the family was our youth, having some type of education programs in place and some activities for them to do. I went to Sylvan Learning Center and sat down and talked with Elizabeth concerning our area.
Brennan approached Sylvan Learning Center about partnering with the Belgrade Community Center and addressing skill gaps and enrichment here in the Belgrade community.
One of the things that we knew would be a challenge is where would the money come from?
Brennan and I started looking into grant opportunities. One of the grants that Brennan and Juliana and myself came upon
was the United Way.
We all pushed for the Belgrade Community Center to become a Boys and Girls Club.
This past year, we were called upon to see about forming a partnership with our friends out at the Belgrade community.
They decided to partner with us and involve the Boys and Girls Club.
This all became possible through the grant that we applied for at the United Way.
And also from the various churches in the community of Belgrade and Boys and Girls Club.
The number one key to help get our community out of poverty is education.
The changes that we've seen in the students enrolled in our program have started since day one. The results have been amazing. Between the community center and Sylvan, we feel like we've made great progress.
United Way gave us hope and excitement when they came in. They really inspired us and our children. We believe that our children have a future, and we're looking forward to United Way and the Boys and Girls Club to help us to direct our children to that future. We want to thank United Way for their support.
At Camp Butterfly, we made scrapbooks about my dad. What I remember about my dad, he was amazing. Who was my dad? My dad was born on September 17th, 1975, and died on August 20th, 2009.
David was 33 years old when he was diagnosed with esophageal cancer in May of 2009. By the time they caught the cancer, it was already in stage 4. Let us know that there was nothing else that they could possibly do and asked us if we wanted to continue treatment. He chose not to continue on and requested to go home and spend the rest of his days with myself and his children. And in August 20th of 2009, he passed away.
This year, we decided that we needed to do something for the young people. Children experience grief just as adults. So the Foundation for Hospice decided to have a grief camp for children. And this was Camp Butterfly. We had licensed social workers there to help them work through their grief and to help them to find ways to cope with their loss.
Here are tons of pictures of my dad. I had pictures of me and my dad, stuff that he gave me, which were 2 coins from the military.
We wanted them to use these books for the rest of their lives, talk about their feelings that they were feeling when their person was alive, how they felt when the person passed, and what they were feeling even today.
And this is what Clarky's or Courtney's thing.
Without Camp Butterfly, I think my children would still be dealing with it the way they were, very closed off, not wanting to speak about it, not wanting to deal with it. It really changed their lives. I'm really so thankful for everything that Continuum Hospice did, and also United Way for sponsoring the event.
This family came to our center looking for support. Mom had been in an abusive relationship for about a period of 5 years, abused physically and emotionally. When she came to me, there were bruises on her legs, but the more noticeable bruises were the psychological bruises and the emotional ones. Hello, I'm one of the families that the Onslow Women's Center has helped. I'm very grateful because thanks to their help, I've been able to get ahead. I was having problems with my husband. He used to hit me. I had heard about the center and went there without my husband's knowledge. The center gave me shelter and food and helped me out with groceries. Thanks to them, I'm now living in my home, and little by little, I'm getting ahead. The partnership between United Way and the Onslow Women's Center gave this family the opportunity to start their lives all over again. They are now independent and working hard towards a better future. This would have never been possible without the funding from United Way and the partnership that exists between both United Way and the Onslow Women's Center.
When children succeed in school, families are financially stable, and our neighbors are healthy. We all win. That's why United Way of Onslow County is focused on the building blocks for a better life: education, health, and income. Through a careful investment process, our 29 programs and 15 local partner agencies have been vetted to ensure donors' money is providing direct assistance to improve lives right here in our community. Our snapshots of success show our impact in the community and your support at work. We are Onslow. We are united. This is our way.
When you support United Way of Onslow County, you're not just helping one life, but over 41,000 lives that United Way helps locally. So come join our caring community, because when you reach out a hand to one, you influence.
Life's tough when you feel alone.
But when you live in a united community like Onslow County that gives generously to agencies like Peers, you don't have to be alone. I now truly know what it means to live united. My name is Kirsten Hicks, and this is my story. We first heard about Peers through a family friend. She had suggested that I bring my daughter here. Tatum was about 9 months old at the time, and I brought her for the drop-in daycare the first time, and it was the first time in 9 months that Tatum had ever been away from me. And after that, she's came about once a week, every week since then. And we had a second baby a year ago, and he's been coming once a week since he was 6 weeks old. I've used several programs from Peers, the drop-in daycare. I've used several of their parenting classes. I've also got my daughter enrolled right now in the kindergarten readiness program. Each one of the programs has taught us how to be a stronger family together. It's preparing my daughter for school, and it has also taught us to be effective parents. My husband's been deployed about 15 months since my daughter was born in 2005, and if it wasn't for Peers and the free childcare and the various, parenting classes that I've taken, I'm not sure what our family would be. I'm a single parent when he's deployed, and it has given me the strength to know that I'm a good parent and that I can handle the situations that arise when, your spouse is deployed.
Since Tate was born, I've been deployed twice, both deployments for 7 months. First time I was deployed, she was actually only just over 2 weeks old. Came back, she was 8 months old. Had to get adjusted to how she was and how things had changed while I was gone. Things changed a lot just because I'd went so long without a kid and then had a kid right before deploying, and then all of a sudden got an 8-month-old basically is what it amounted to. Then my son, he was born after pretty much all my deployments into combat theater was done, but been out on training deployments, so a couple weeks here and there, and just with him being one, basically he changes a lot in 2 to 3 weeks. So when you come back, you still got to readjust to how he is and the things that he's doing. Attended 2 parenting classes through Peers. The biggest thing I would say that they helped with is they got me and my wife on the same page. When me and her started doing the same things at the same time, it tended to help and make it last a little bit better and make things actually worked out better, because then the kids saw that me and mom were first of all on the same page, plus they weren't getting confused by the two of us doing separate things or different things with them. So those classes definitely helped out with that.
To anybody that's donated to the United Way for programs like Peers, I just want to say thank you, because it's done worlds of wonders for my family, and it's been great for my family. And there's a lot of other families like mine that have benefited just as much, if not more. And without the donations and without all of the funding that Peers receives, they wouldn't exist. And that would be a huge, huge asset lost to this community, because there are so many struggling families in Onslow County. We need something to pull us all back together, and Peers is that.
Kirsten is only one person, but by helping Kirsten, her family was strengthened. Remember, when we reach out a hand to one, we can influence the condition of all. United Way of Onslow County funds 35 community programs within its 14 partner agencies. Peers is just one partner agency. With economic times being tough, the demand on our partner agencies' programs has increased. For these vital programs to continue in our community, everyone must live united.
Underneath everything we are.
Underneath everything we do.
We are all people connected.
Interdependent.
United. And when we reach out a hand to one,
we influence the condition of all.
That's what it means to live united.
My reward working for the USO is that I get to meet young soldiers and sailors and Marines coming through, talking with them, giving them some of my experiences, also getting reward just to see the young fellas coming and knowing that our country is in good hands with the troops that are coming through today.
I've always been involved in volunteerism most of my life, and when my son was on his way for his first tour of duty in Iraq, he called me up and he says, I've got the perfect thing for you to do, I think you should get involved with the USO. So fortunately, that was the first month that the USO was opening here in Charlotte, and I called up, and I've been a volunteer here for 3 years. It certainly is rewarding for a volunteer in that you're here when they need you. Just a smile or hello, how are you doing, or would you like a sandwich or something. It certainly relieves their stress, and it seems to relax them knowing that we're here for them to support them in any way that we can.
One of the main jobs of the USO is to be a link between America and our service members. And the more time I spend with these wonderful young folks, the better advocate I can be and the better link that USO North Carolina Charlotte can be between the American people and these young men and women in uniform. The volunteers at the USO centers are the heartbeat of the USO. None of the services that we provide to the men and women in uniform and their families could be provided if it were not for the volunteers. Here at Charlotte, we have about 300 volunteers. They keep this center open day in and day out, 365 days a year. They care about the service members and their families, their compassion. So many times I hear volunteers saying, this is my opportunity to give and to give back and to let folks know that we do care and that the American people do care.
My involvement with the USO stems from the fact that I spent 20 years in the Navy, and in that 20 years I've frequented the USO many times. So when I moved to Charlotte 2 years ago and found that they had a USO at the airport, I couldn't wait to come back and pay back some of the time that I had people spend time for me so that I could spend time serving the troops that are here now as I was served in the past.
To see all the support we get from the community, from people who are donating food to us, some of the food service at the airport that we pick up food from every day, some of the ones who deliver it to us during the week, and the support from them for paper goods and various items. There's a lot of community support for this USO here in Charlotte.
This is my third time in the Charlotte USO. And to be honest, it's one of my favorites because it's just more comfortable because everyone is really friendly when you come in there first. Have you been here before? Let me show you around. And they just make sure you're very comfortable. If you need a phone card to call home, they're more than welcome to oblige you with that. And they make sure you have everything you need. It's really nice to have it in the airport because if you don't, you're kind of just stuck out there hustling and bustling. But in here, you can just sit back, relax, drink a Coke, or check your email or see what's going on in the events that you haven't really been able to catch up on. And you kind of feel like you're at home because it's like Southern hospitality. I'm from the South, so it's Southern hospitality to me. I appreciate what the USO does, and that if we didn't have the USO, traveling would be a much difficult experience for American soldiers. I appreciate it, and I know my family appreciates it too because it makes traveling a little bit easier than it should be. My name is Private Jennifer Harper. I'm stationed in Wiesbaden, Germany, and I love the USO.
I never really paid much mind to the USO. Got that bond this morning. The flight was delayed, and so I missed my flight to Costa Rica, and forgot my cell phone at home. And a fellow downstairs asked me if I was in the military, and I said, yeah. He sent me up here to the USO, and they helped me make a phone call and got my ticket rescheduled, and I'm impressed with the whole thing. I'm no problems. They got an A in my book.
We have an opportunity to, number one, reach out and touch service members from all over the world and all over the country as they pass through Charlotte, a major airport, on their way home, on their way for deployment or for a new assignment.
These are, fresh out of high school, most of them, and, they just believe in what they're doing, and so you just have to be there to hug them and encourage them to go on and to continue and tell them that we care and that we love them and thank them. We thank them every day that they come through. Thank you for what you're doing.
They are the best. They give of their heart, and they leave their families, and they're over there for us, wherever they might be. And I just think they're great.
Thank you so much for everything y'all do for us. Y'all are so great to us. Thank you so much.
Imagine being homeless, uninsured, hungry, or unable to provide gifts for your children at Christmas time. Imagine that insurance would not cover the expenses of your child's medicine and that suddenly you found yourself struggling to pay for basic needs. Meet the O'Brien family. When baby Kaylee started having seizures, the family vowed to do anything to help her, including paying for medicine not covered by insurance. This expense, added to other family medical bills, had the family prepared to accept a quiet Christmas.
The medical bills are completely outrageous. Our insurance does cover a large portion of it, but when you have a family of 3 and one person working and a housewife, it becomes very hard to make the ends meet month to month, let alone during the holidays.
When Trinette O'Brien learned of the Christmas Cheer program offered by Onslow Community Ministries, she was excited. But she had no idea how wonderful the program really was.
You don't realize how generous the people are and what it takes for somebody else to make a Christmas for you when you're not able to do it yourself. You know, and it makes you feel very grateful, and you realize, you know, just how good of a community that it is that we moved into. It's a good community. We're happy to be here.
Onslow Community Ministries' Christmas Cheer program helped over 1,400 families have a blessed Christmas, with 22,000 toys distributed to those who qualified for this remarkable program. According to the last census, there are more than 19,000 uninsured adults in Onslow County. When Karen Falk moved to Jacksonville, North Carolina, she discovered that unlike the state she came from, she did not qualify for any special health insurance program, and she found herself diabetic and uninsured.
Going to an eye doctor one day, and he was giving me the test, and my vision was so bad. He said, something is wrong. It was so blurred. And I kind of dozed off. I think I was going into a diabetic coma. After all of that was over and, you know, they found out about the high blood pressure and the diabetes and, you know, trying to help me get that under control. Well, then here comes the problem now of prescription medicine, which the amount of money you can spend on prescription medicine can be astronomical. And honestly, I did not have it.
The Caring Community Clinic sees almost 1,000 patients per year and distributes $350,000 worth of free prescriptions annually. The patients at this clinic are very thankful for this service.
To the people that work here, to all of the doctors that volunteer, to the staff, thank you. We could never repay you.
The Onslow Community Ministries Soup Kitchen began serving meals in 1990. They currently serve almost 100,000 meals per year. This includes 500 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches daily. In addition to serving meals at the ministries, there are 2 soup kitchen trucks which deliver meals throughout Onslow County. Combined, these trucks drive 32,000 miles per year. Daryl Graham lives in Maple Hill and rides his bike a mile every day to pick up food for his family. Imagine that you made a few bad choices in your life and you suddenly find yourself in trouble with the law and homeless, but you desperately want to get your life on track. Meet Maribel Murphy. A couple of years ago, Maribel was known to the local authorities by the name Baby Fats. He was depressed and in trouble with the law. He began drinking and hit rock bottom and decided he needed to change his life.
I had got lost in society, so to speak. I had become despondent, was somewhat suicidal, because I was living from day to day and really living out of the trunk of a friend of mine's car. I had gotten committed into the shelter, done the paperwork and what have you. So I was on probation and I was worried about that. So that didn't stop me from getting in, so they wanted me to take a shower and change clothes. I didn't have any change of clothes, so they wanted to help me get some clothes. So they allowed me to go and find my friend that I had my clothes in the trunk of his car to get my clothes.
Maribel has not had a drink of alcohol and has had a good-paying job since August of 2006, and he has lived in his own place since September of 2006.
The people were very helpful about my planning, about saving money, and so from 30 days, from August the 22nd to September the 22nd, I was able to move in.
Maribel, like many of the other former shelter residents, is extremely appreciative of what the ministries has done for him.
I appreciate all the things that you did for me and helping me to do things for myself.
There is an estimated 1,500 homeless in Onslow County. The average homeless person is homeless for 6 months to a year and is trying desperately to turn their life around. Onslow Community Ministries homeless shelter houses approximately 250 residents a year for a total of almost 2,000 bed nights. Since its inception in 1990, Onslow Community Ministries has changed the lives of thousands of individuals. While the current services provided by the ministries are awe-inspiring, there is still so much more we would like to do. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we had the funds to pay a full-time clinic physician and expand the clinic hours and capacity? If we had the funds to open a much-needed dental and eye clinic? If we had the funds to keep the homeless shelter open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? If we had the funds to pay for the increasing cost of gasoline and possibly be able to increase the number of rural routes that the soup kitchen delivers? There is so much more we could do with additional funding. Currently, 60% of our funding comes from grants. If any of our major grants are cut, our programs would be in jeopardy. 100% of money donated to the ministry stays right here in Onslow County. Please consider supporting Onslow Community Ministries because you have the power to change lives.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I started out young, about 9 years old, when I first started playing, actually getting on drum myself. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I had an itch for it. And the more I stayed with it, the more it came natural to me. I haven't had any formal training so far, but everything I learned from the church. And I played in church for almost 15, 20 years before I struck out and went to the military. Then I came back and started playing church again, so most of my background is really in gospel music. I played with the Sensational Nightingales. Had the experience one time to play with those guys. That was fun, being a young drummer starting out, and I just happened to be in the right place at the right time. I sat in, once I moved from here to Washington, D.C., I sat in with Marcus Johnson, which is one of the prominent jazz players in Washington, D.C. That was really fun. Actually, this is when I learned that I have a lot to do. Drums is what I love. I mean, everything about the sound of it, the textures. even the setup. That's drums is what I do. That's what I like. That's me. It's not about a bunch of tricks. Play only what needs to be played, and being versatile, and being open to new ideas. Someone always knows more than you do. I always learn. Always. There's something, a new technique that's always coming forth out there from young cats or the older cats. But the main thing is being a good, strong pocket drummer, and you'll find work that way.
Milt has a real desire to be a strong musician. And when he approached me with the idea of doing the project, I thought maybe this is a good idea. We need to try to do this. It's something we need to really try to pursue. We got to work on the disc, working out his ideas. He had some good ideas. They needed some development, but, what artist doesn't need some development? Milt's a great guy. He's teachable. He listens really well. He's just moldable, and from a producer standpoint, you want someone that's going to listen to you, someone that's going to pay attention to your suggestions and your ideas. And so, we got started on the disc and went from there, started developing the ideas slowly, and came out with a really good disc. I do appreciate being able to work with someone who has a heart for this thing, and not just a beat maker, but someone who really wants to be a real musician.
I had some music I was working on at home, and it was just some things that I was really concentrating on, that I wanted to let the world know as a drummer, what I was thinking, musically. So I decided to contact a good friend of mine, my producer, Tim Rayner, and told him I was ready to get in the studio and start laying some tracks down, And he thought it was a good idea, so we got together and got in the studio and started brainstorming, putting ideas together, and that's how my CD, Slow Walking Smooth Talking, was born. Some good tracks, Come Back Home, Paris, Can You, Cooking Rice. There's a story behind Cooking Rice. Actually, I was home cooking some rice, and Tim said I needed 4 more songs, and I was in the middle of cooking some rice. And in the process of that, some tunes came together, sat down, and with my nephew Sean on bass and myself on drums, and we knocked out some lines. Again, called Tim and gave it to him and said what he thought, and it sounded pretty good to him. And we got back in the studio again, knocked it out, and fleshed it out, and it came out to be a really good track.
Well, I met Milton through another friend of mine, this drummer named Jason Holt. My name is Philip Martin, originally from Florida. Right now I'm living in D.C., going to dental school. And while I'm doing that, I play all the time. I'm a professional musician full-time. Actually just got done playing in the 21st Amendment just a second ago. But I actually have Milton's CD. Yeah, man. Cool stuff, man. That's what's up.
Around these parts, we know him as CB. That's my dog right there. My name is Stanley Cooper. I am a guitarist. Currently mainly working with Marcus Johnson and the Marcus Johnson Project. Also Jimmy Summers, who's a smooth jazz saxophonist from the West Coast. And Gordon Chambers, who's a multi-Grammy-winning songwriter and R&B artist. And initially, I met him at the Guitar Center in Falls Church, Virginia. Real easy cat to talk to and real easy cat to work with. So initially, I met him in that venue, and then we got to kicking it about music and that type of thing. And I told him what I was into. He told me what he was into, and I invited him out to some performances. To come and check out what I'm doing, that type of thing, and just a vibe. Because he's a good cat. I kind of like, it's a good networking opportunity. So we all stick together. He came out, and we ain't been able to get rid of him. That's our man right there, though. That's our man. We love him. We love him for sure.
Paris is after a young lady that is really close to my heart. She was like a daughter to me. Paris was a tribute to her, and it's a real nice, smooth jazz piece. Another one is Come Back Home. That one was more of a spiritual tie between me and God. I was going through a lot of chaos at the time with this project, so it was very therapeutic for me also. And Come Back Home is when you find yourself in a place where you think nothing is going right. I mean, everything just out there, just going wrong. That you can find some comfort in your relationship with God. So when I was putting this together, that's the only thing I could think of. I just need to come back home. You know, wherever I am, God is always there. Sometimes I might leave, but He's always there. So Come Back Home was appropriate for this tune. I want the music to speak who I am, not vocally, but musically. Because who I am as a drummer, I'm also a songwriter. Music is a conversation. If it's 4 people from 4 different countries, when they come together and play a certain piece of music, they're speaking the same language. That's the advice I would give to young people. Learn how to speak the same language.
As a middle school teacher, I'm committed to helping advance the minds and use of our youth. I work hard to earn my money, and times are tough, so I choose who to donate to very carefully. I know that the money that goes to the United Way directly supports the programs for my students, such as the Boys and Girls Club, Girl Scouts, and Boy Scouts. Between teaching and being a mom, I'm very busy. I do not have as much time in my life right now to volunteer, but I do have the ability to donate to the United Way and make a difference in my community. My name is Carrie. I give to the United Way. That's how I live united!
Domestic violence affects 1 in 5 families. Many times, women of domestic violence feel trapped and are unable to break the cycle of abuse. That's where I come in. I am their advocate. I help victims of domestic violence fight for themselves. I help them file protection orders, I give them emotional support in court, and I look out for their children. A lot of times, children that are raised in abusive homes grow up thinking that it's okay to hit and it's okay to be abusive. And it breaks my heart knowing that they think that that's okay, and it's starting the cycle all over again. And it needs to stop. When I look at the faces of the women and children that I help, I know that I am making a difference. My name is Jennifer. I'm an advocate for victims of domestic violence, and that's how I live united.
We met while I was stationed in Iceland.
I was in a local restaurant ordering a cup of hot chocolate, and he asked me to go to the movies.
And after a lot of coaxing, she finally said yes.
We have been volunteering for the most of our lives, so to us, retirement just meant more time to get involved with our community. How is everything?
We enjoy volunteering for the USO.
Every person serving in the military is my child. We are the family when their family is not able to be there. We see them off to deployment and welcome them when they return.
Outside of your family, you got somebody else there that you don't quite know, but you at the same time, you know they're thinking about you and they had you in their hearts during the time you was out there. So that, again, that goes a long way to that Marine or to that sailor, you know, and it just makes them feel good and give them that warm and fuzzy about what they're doing. We're Tom and Goody Wolf. We volunteer.
And that's how we live united.
Every day in Onslow County, people are helping people, whether by giving, advocating, or volunteering. We are all trying to better the common good of our community. The United Way of Onslow County funds 14 partner agencies and a total of 35 programs. Economic times are tough. These vital nonprofit agencies are struggling and need your support. You too can live united by improving the lives of those less fortunate by ensuring that these important services can continue to operate.
Underneath everything we are,
underneath everything we do,
we are all people.
Connected,
Interdependent, united.
And when we reach out a hand to one,
We influence the condition of all.
that's what it means to live united.
In Iraq, the front line is everywhere. And everywhere in Iraq, women in the U.S. military fight. More than 155,000 have served there since 2003. That's 4 times the number of women sent to Desert Storm in 1991.
I'm Gunnery Sergeant Yolanda Mayo, Public Affairs Chief for Task Force Term.
RPGs, bullets, and IEDs have wounded more than 430 American female Marines, soldiers, sailors, and airmen, and killed more than 70, about twice the number of U.S. military women killed in action in Korea, Vietnam, and Desert Storm combined. But should women be in combat? Do they have what it takes to be warriors? Compelling questions once, but empty questions now. Because more than ever, American women are in combat and they are warriors. The real question is, what is their experience of war? We haven't heard their stories until now. Band of Sisters presents 12 of those stories. Meet America's first female pilot to be shot down and survive. Get acquainted with the U.S. military's first black female pilot in combat. Pair down range with a 21-year-old turret gunner defending convoys. Stand fast with 2 lance corporals in a firefight. Watch as an explosion rips through a truck driver's vehicle, gravely wounding her. And as a nurse battles to make sense of war's emotional traumas.
One woman said, "We love our country as much as the men, and we've made the same sacrifices as our brothers in arms." Band of Sisters reveals those sacrifices for the first time.